Hey folks, welcome to this week's episode of Unscrew My Model Railroad. We're going to be doing something a little different this week. We're going to go ahead and look at the process I use to create logos that I'm going to use on my decals that we'll see applied in the next episode. These are going to be custom decals, and so we're going to look at the process today of how I go about creating them and creating a visual look for the rest of the railroad. So the first set of decals we're going to try and get done and build logos for are these two here tanks. I'm treating them as natural gas tanks. Here you see me putting the clear coat on, and that's going to be used to kind of seal in the paint there before we put the decals on. So here we're going to get started now. We're going to use a ton of circles here to kind of get these curves right. In a lot of the research I did looking into this, a lot of these companies use this kind of teardrop shape. It looks really cool, kind of. It's kind of endemic of the entire industry, really. It will turn into a teardrop, a raindrop, and then here in a second, we're going to go ahead and start to add what looks like a flame. First attempt at it. Shoring up the outsides, creating this nice little space. Get rid of all the circles, the guide circles that we're not going to use. And go ahead and try and make this. And I was able to do this kind of freehand, which is pretty cool. And now we're going to go ahead, put some color in it. And with that color, that's pretty much done for the iconography. With each file, we're going to save them as PNGs. Now, we're doing that so that when we actually do print onto the paper, there's going to be no white background and it'll be a clean image. So we're going to do the same thing here and create a PNG. We're going to start with the logo itself. Now we're going to create this for the side of the tank. And this is also going to be a clear background when it gets printed. So we've kind of placed it on the left side here. We made it a little bit smaller. Now we're going to add the lettering, the actual name of the company. For some reason, that's the default lettering. We're going to go in a second and change all that. The name of the company is Wave Gas, so we're going to change the type. We're going to change the colors. And we're going to get set here to kind of zero in on what we want to see. So now we're going to go ahead and dial in the color, get it kind of looking pretty much as is. The font looks great. Just need to get that color kind of dialed in. We're going to go to the wheel over here, kind of pull it around till we like it. And there we are. Settled on a color that looks good with the gray outline. And we're going to go ahead, finalize this, and export it as a PNG file. This way, once again, prints up. It's going to be clear. Go on the white background. Going to have no problems. Here's our next little building. Actually, not so little. This is going to become George's Fruit Company. Loading dock on the back. Some other doors on the front. Sweet. We're going to make this a fruit company. So I started with an orange, figuring this is going to be Florida. Let's make it go. Now we're going to go with the lettering here. George's Fruit Company. And now it's time to find the right font. Get looking something classy, maybe old-fashioned. There we go. And now we're going to set the color, at least try to get somewhere near what I want. There we are. And now we're going to do the same exact thing. Fortunately, I totally forgot how to save presets here. So it's going to kind of be best guess. Here we are trying to put the letters on top here. And it kind of doesn't work. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and just get rid of the stem. It's just not going to work here, so let's get rid of it. So now we're going to go ahead and try and move down and make sure that everything fits. We're also going to move it into the middle of the screen now because that wasn't the original plan. And final sizing. A little bit more. And we're done. Ladies and gentlemen, George's Fruit Company. George's Fruit Company also needs for the side of the building, we're going to get just a kind of words across, kind of that words across the side of the building kind of feel. And we're just going to go ahead, line everything up, and make sure that when we cut the decals, we'll be able to cut them to fit the space we're trying to get in. So now on to our last logos we're going to build. And this one's going to kind of be a template for others. So these sheds are going to be on the side of the rails, in sidings. They're going to be covering up holes in the board. So I wanted to start to create kind of like a decal for the side of this that state who owns it. So this series does actually have a logo. There it is, that seal. And at first I thought, well, let's use the seal. It's already existing. The name of the county, because I'm not going to name the city, but it's Flamingo County, Florida. And so let us present the Flamingo County Department of Transportation. After settling on the font, we're going to go ahead and get the color we want. It's flamingo. It's got to be pink. So once we settle on that, it's time to make everything else look the same. Let's get everything in position here, trying to set how it looks. Same font, same font. I like it. Resize a little bit, make it kind of even. And we'll go ahead and almost call this done. We're going to make sure we get the colors right. Get back to what I wanted, that pink. All right. But there is a slight problem with this. Here's the finished version of that one with all the colors. I decided that didn't look right. And it wasn't the wording here. I really like the wording. It's the logo on the other side, and the wording just doesn't feel right without some sort of graphic with it. So, it's Flamingo County. I'm guessing by now you can figure out with a bunch of circles and that thing. Let's make it kind of look like a flamingo. So, I'm skipping ahead a bit here, but here's the basic geometric shapes that I used. Used a ton of circles here to get us to where we are, trying to create the head, give it kind of some flamingo characteristics. Yeah, that's not looking right. So we're going to go ahead and replan what this actually looks like. It's the Department of Transportation. I like the head. It's good where it is. The next needs some work. So we're going to go ahead and use the same technique we did on the natural gas logo and use some circles to just get us some curves. Make the curves look nice and good. Give us that long beak we're looking for. And there we go. We're just going to need to touch it up, and we're going to be good to go on that. At the bottom here, what the geometric shape is going to be a wing. And so kind of give it a little bit of speed here with the alternating pink and white. It's going to create a bit of speed. Now, this is the Department of Transportation. I also kind of want it a little obvious it's a bird. So, transportation, road, congrats. It's going to be a road all the way to the end of the flamingo. And a little bit there, making some checks here and there. Make it look good from a distance. But you can start to see that there is a beak. There's a neck, a head. That's what I'm looking for. And now that we have this, we can also create other departments within the county, like Parks and Recreation. There we go, just resizing everything, and this entire thing will work. Now, we're going to get rid of the road stripes, because this is Parks and Rec. We're going to keep the beak, but for the most part, we're just going to get rid of the road stripes, and there it is. That's it. That's the logos. And there it is, Flamingo County Parks and Recreation. Now, we can use these logos, pre-existing assets, that we already sent out as PNGs. Let's create some signs for the doors, maybe a few other places, some Fencing. Let's put the Department of Transportation up there. Took it out of files. And now, congrats, you basically have a no trespassing sign. The only difference I'm going to make here is we're going to resize it to kind of make it look good. And then we're going to push down the no trespassing part. A little bit there, a little bit there, and there it is. Now you know how that you can create a template that you could use a ton of times over and get a lot of different results out of it. Going to have a ton of fun putting a lot of different things in there in that city now that I have these templates. So, next week, we're actually going to do something, and we're going to put some decals on some things. We're also going to do some touch-ups and how to upgrade a building that you might not have done right the first time. I hope to see you next week on the next episode of Unscrew My Model Railroad. This has been Max Mersinger. Like, subscribe, comment, normal YouTube stuff. See you next